Hey guys, welcome in. We're gonna do a sound check real quick just before we get started. Uh, how we doing, guys?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. I can tell you're audible. Rose is the stream on in the background. I hear you, so that's good.
Good, good.
Yeah, I hear you, Wombat. I hear Kirby. He's a little
Yes.
he's a little quiet.
Is
Oh,
he a
am
little
I?
quiet?
Okay. I can fix that. Let's go here real quick.
And for those of you who were in the stream for the countdown and got to the end of the countdown, uh, you guys get some Wombucks. I'm,
Yo, nice.
so
Okay.
everybody gets 100 Wombucks for coming into the stream early. Don't know how many people that is at the moment, but I mean, at least everybody here gets some Wombucks. Oh,
All
Gale,
right.
I think you might have. The gave 100 Wombucks to everyone. Yeah, Gale's trying to catch up to you, Kirby. Yeah.
Am I? Oh, barely. But oh my god, I'm like 150 or so ahead.
Overtake me.
Cause you're never. Cause you. All the Dark Souls 2 streams.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Pick games that I can't watch. I see how it is.
Uh,
Well, if he does
In,
Hollow
in
Knight, I can't
cahoots
watch
with each other. I see.
well, I'm done with all the games you haven't played, so um, yeah. Weren't you at like 13,000 yesterday, Gale? How did you go up that fast? That's crazy. I guess you must have watched for a while. Yeah, he was watching most of Hob.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cahoots. Cahoots.
Yeah, Dark Souls is mostly over. It's a rip Dark Souls. Were you just not liking Dark Souls, Bestro? Or are you looking to play it someday? Well, I guess we should get started. So, welcome everyone. Today we've got a very special topic at hand. Uh, we usually talk about video games and gaming. Um, but today we're going to be taking it off the screen and taking it to the DM screen. We're going to be
Yeah.
talking about
Ooh.
Dungeons and Dragons. So, for those of you who are or aren't familiar, we've got all sides levels of experience with D&D and role-playing games in general. Um, Kirby, how much have you played?
So I've been playing D&D more on and off for the last 3 years. It's about 2015, close to 3.5 now, actually. Early 2015. Only fifth edition exclusively. I've never played anything before that. Fifth edition was a good starting point, I think. Most of my experience was as a dungeon master, doing like the pre-written stories that they make, and then I've done some of my own stories as well. I have done a little bit of actually playing the game. I've had 2 characters, but that wasn't nearly as much as I have DM wise. So.
And
I have never really played any like official version. I played some street versions like once or twice,
Street
and
version.
say that I get the concept more than anything. That's pretty much all I get. Is that I had never really played anything serious.
Yeah, yeah. So, and for me, I've been playing since I was 11, so about 20
Huge.
years,
Wow.
2 decades I've got under my belt. If you guys can do math now, you know my age, but
You guys can do math. Math is tough though, so
yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, 2 decades under my belt. I've played pretty much every edition And oh yeah, the kids in Stranger Things play Dungeons and Dragons, and if you've
Yeah.
ever watched Community, there's a Dungeons and Dragons episode. IT Crowd, they have a D&D episode. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different. Yeah, Trell, you've seen the Dungeons and Dragons IT Crowd episode, right?
Yeah. I love IT Crowd. I feel like as a programmer, I need to know D&D just to fit in better.
Second edition or first, one of the two. Um, it might have been AD&D. It was the 80s, so it could have been either one. Um, I know when I started playing, it was still Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which was second edition.
Advanced.
Yeah. In fact, the shelf that I've got down here, right, there we go, is all dedicated to Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Most of it's 3.5 or third. I've just started getting into fifth edition. I got this like maybe May, so I'm pretty recent to the fifth edition.
Okay.
And fourth edition, I
this
didn't
past
play
May,
as
so like
much.
just now, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I've mainly DM'd. I didn't get to play a lot as a character as much. When I started, I was, but yeah.
So what's the difference between editions?
There's a lot actually. Yeah, I'm actually Gale's dungeon master. Well, I'm not right now. We're actually
Yo.
playing together, but I am his dungeon master in some games. So for example, the mechanics of the game change, or what does what classes there are, what races there are. Um, they try and like reformat it to better suit like more people, or to update the rules to like different concepts and things like that. So like everybody has their own preference for editions. Like I've always liked 3.5, but I'm definitely warming up to fifth edition quite a bit. I didn't like fourth edition as much.
Did you say 3.5?
Yeah, so they updated third edition, but it wasn't a full update. They just fixed some things that were glaringly wrong about it. So they called it 3.5 because it wasn't a full edition. Kind of like those. Go ahead.
Major minor releases in software or something like that. I got
it. Right. Yeah, like 1.1 or whatever. Yeah, or like
Right.
Minecraft, they make updates like that all the time. So yeah. So where do we go from here? What questions do you have, Trell? So like, have you ever been interested in pursuing Dungeons and Dragons, or is it just something you liked to watch from afar?
Yeah, I mean, like I always think it was pretty interesting to see. Like, obviously it's all imagination, so it's I guess that relies heavily on the DM to come up with this, because they got to level set everything, right? It's not like you can just be like, oh, and then some random meteorite just comes out and takes you out. It's like, no, that's out of left field, and flag on the field type thing. But I would think that they would have to be a level set of rules that was in the play to begin with, and then so you can only have like a finite amount of possibilities that can happen. Is that right?
There are conditions and rules that everyone adheres to. Although the DM can say, in my game, we're not doing those kind of rules or whatnot. So, like for example, carrying capacity is a big thing. Like my ruling for that is like, so you can like micromanage all of your equipment to like the pound, because after a certain amount of pounds, you're over encumbered and you can't move as fast and things like that.
How do you keep track of that?
Each item has a weight.
Each item has a weight and cost, so you can track it in your from the player's handbook onto your sheet, and then just add it up. But like,
you gotta do math. Oh,
well, there's also like apps you can just put it all in. But
that's better.
Yeah, in this day and age, D&D back when I started, back in my day, we didn't have these. We didn't even have smartphones. Like we had calculators and T83s.
Well, speaking of carrying capacity, then just real quick, I have a question in relation to that. Have you played with people who want the players to describe how they carry all their stuff? Like besides a weight thing, there's a size thing, right? Like,
oh yeah,
let's say you can carry like weight-wise, you can carry 30 swords, but practically you can't carry 30 swords. Do you go by that, or do you just not care and only deal with weight?
So as a DM, and Rose, I'm right there with you. There's a lot. There's a little too much to track, and it really pulls you out of the game. And like you're just like thinking too much about the details and not enough about the story and what you're gonna do to interact with the world. So
Mhm.
my ruling is, as long as it's not something stupid like you're carrying around a canoe, I'm fine. Like
Okay.
okay, like if you're carrying a canoe, you're unencumbered. Okay,
Yeah.
but like
That's good.
otherwise, like just don't abuse it. So like don't carry 50 anvils or something like that.
Right.
At least it's.
Um,
I was saying at least it's not size based like in Diablo inventory or something
well,
like that.
yeah, and with that, like, yeah, you can fit pretty much anything in your pack, but like there's things called bags of holding, which are basically like whole rooms inside of a bag that you can just dump all your shit in. It weighs the same. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
there's
Convenient.
do you have stats that can up your inventory carry?
The weight strength determines your carry capacity, at least in 5th edition.
yeah,
Okay.
strength is like your big. So there's six abilities. There's strength, dex, constitution. Constitution is like vitality almost. Like it's how many hit points you have when
Talking
you're
about Dark
making a
Souls, yeah.
fortitude. For like say somebody poisons you, you make a save. It's off of your constitution, so how hardy you are as a character. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
and then you've got the mental stats, which are wisdom and intelligence and charisma. So charisma is
Okay.
like how much people like you or
Kind of like
how attractive
the
you are.
Elder Scrolls games.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Elder Scrolls borrows heavily from D&D. Most RPGs do. So
Okay.
that's why a lot of the terms are similar.
Okay. Have you ever streamed it?
No, but I've always wanted to. In fact, that's something I wanted to see about going out of this conversation is like if we can convince you like to maybe even play a game and try it out for yourself. So we'll see at the
I'm
end.
always down to try things. I'd be game for that. I don't expect to be like I don't expect we're gonna pull in numbers like what's the biggest D&D channel? Isn't it like
It's gonna be
some
us, so
It's
sound
probably Critical Role.
yeah, critical role, yeah.
Okay, yeah, they pull in like hundreds of thousands, I think, right? And
They do.
it's just crazy because I mean, again, they're not even seeing anything; they're just seeing like six people on the screen, and it's just them chatting. And sometimes they'll do a little bit of role playing and stuff like that too. I've gone in just to check it out, but yeah, again, it's always my perspective has always been like just watching or just kind of just knowing the concepts, not
Mhm.
really actually playing.
Sure. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of nitty gritty details that you'd have to read the book or reference the book. Spoiler alert: I when a new edition comes out, I don't read the book through. I like to learn by playing, and like
Mhm.
people, like I ask a question, people say, "Oh, look at this page," or "Oh, this is how this works," and then I'll read more into it later.
Is
Or
this
Right.
like,
like against your exploration strats? What is this? This isn't a real wombat.
The real
I'm
pony.
too busy exploring the actual world, not the book world. So, um, but like, there's all kinds of things. So like for the dungeon masters, there's books like a monster manual, which it has like stats on all the monsters.
Yeah, here.
So
Where
it's
is
a
it?
Oh my God! Look what I opened up to. Gargoyle.
Oh, you went up to the Gargs?
The
Dang it!
That's
The
hilarious.
I
guards.
opened up to a Hydra. You got the Gargs. Kayla, where are
Yep.
you? The Gargs.
She's
Ran
probably
away.
still
She's scared
sleeping.
already.
The
She heard
Gargs are
coming.
here.
Yep. To Rose's question, how much tomfoolery do you allow in your? Yeah, I mean, is it pretty serious when you're being a DM? That's because of both you guys, I guess.
I'll let Wombat answer first.
Go ahead, Kirby.
Okay, okay, fair. I don't like incredibly serious where you can't laugh or joke or do anything that would be humorous. But some of the group I played with got way too lax with the story to where they'd be like, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go try and figure that dude's ass. I'm like, oh, cool. Or just stuff like that. Or they like even besides like immaturity like that though, it was really hard to stick to the story when all they would want to do is do it's a funny term you may have heard like murder hobo, where there's murder hobos, they're homeless dudes running around killing people and stealing stuff, and that's what the whole party does instead of progressing.
I
And
mean, that's pretty much what every party is, no matter what you're doing. Like, if you go into a dungeon and clear it out of monsters, you're a murder hobo. You don't have a
okay, I
home,
meant they go to
and you're
towns and do
murdering
it. It's
everything.
not even in a dungeon. They're in the towns doing it.
Hmm.
Wait, so how many hobos are in this world?
Oh no, sorry. You're not killing hobos. They are hobos. They're just homeless
As
dudes. 'Cause
as
it's a hobo in this game.
What?
so Trell, let's put in the perspective here.
Okay.
You are an adventurer, right? You might have a
Killing
home.
hobos.
No. Let me finish.
Okay.
So the party, the group that you're playing with, each player is wandering around the world. They don't have a place to call home because they're constantly traveling around, right? They might stay in an
Okay.
inn or whatnot. So
Okay.
they're hobos.
They're hobos, dude. They're murder hobos.
So you as a
Okay.
player are technically like that's the joke.
I got it. I get it.
So
But to answer the question, yeah, I mean, I like somewhere in the middle between fully serious and fully humorous. I like to make progress, as you've seen from when I stream with Rose. I like to make progress, but at the same time, I do like it to be a bit humorous, not incredibly serious. I think that's a lot of the fun stuff begins when there's a little bit of tomfoolery. But I do like there to be a general consistent progress being made in the story, as opposed to just always going and off into some new adventure and not making progress with any one specific thing.
yeah.
Right.
So and to put in the perspective, I'll answer your question two different ways. So first of all, sometimes the best moments out of D&D are from just allowing a bit of silliness.
Yes.
Gail actually mentions a specific example that happened during one of our campaigns. One of my players, one of their first encounters was an ogre, and they fought it and killed it. And the guy wanted to drain the blood out of it and keep it in a vial. So he wanted this ogre blood, and I'm like, why? And he's like, I just want it. And I'm like, okay. And so like we rolled with it, but that ogre blood came up constantly because like he kept trying to sell it to people all over the place. And he wouldn't tell them it was ogre blood. He'd say it was like all kinds of different things like a potion or whatnot. He went to this woodworker and he was like trying to convince them that it was a special rare varnish. And he almost sold it to the guy, but then one of the other players like revealed it. It was like it's just ogre blood.
What a snitch! What a snitch! I'd be so mad.
So like silliness like that is like that's some of the most memorable stuff from campaigns. Is like and like if you roll with it well, then like and roll with it as the DM, not like roll as in the dice.
Right.
If you allow things like that to happen, but control it or like make it fun, then it can be really fun.
So
But
was
and the other answer to the question is sometimes you gotta lock it down because, as Kirby said, it can really distract from the campaign. And my party and myself are guilty of like making puns and jokes and references to other gaming things like he's over 9,000 or something like that. But like if we go on riffs and puns for like 30 minutes and nothing happens, it really can get frustrating.
Sure.
So it's you kind of have to like try and refocus the group if they start getting off
Yeah.
kilter. Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm a pun master, so like I go back and forth with a couple of my friends, and we just pun off for a while, and people are just like, ah, you know what I mean? Like they're enjoying it, but like let's play.
Right.
So
Right. Right. So with the ogre blood incident, I'm gonna use that as
sure.
an example. What was it? Was it like an option given to the player, or was it just they just randomly were like, "Yo, I'm just gonna go drain this blood out of this guy"?
It was something that he wanted to do as a player. It
Okay.
wasn't
So
like
when
I
and
had
that
to make
it,
up the mechanics for it.
okay. So there's a lot of like impromptu on the fly kind of decisions that you got as a DM you would have to do, and then
I
you
would
would
argue
have
that's
to.
most of it. Wouldn't you want that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's making stuff up on the fly as well as preparing in advance.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So then when you allow that mechanic to happen, then you have to realize like I don't know, you probably don't have all this calculated yet, but it's kind of like this thing will do this kind of bonus for him, or it could be this kind of poison or whatever, right?
Right, like for example, say the ogre's blood he'd been bitten by a snake and died, or like they poisoned him, and then he tried to drain the blood. There's, if he had some open wounds on his hand, he could get poisoned, or like
Right.
he could, it could go wrong if he failed. He could instead of cutting the ogre up, cut himself open. There's risks and reward and things like that.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
like most of the time, it's just like and as Gail said, I think It was just a simple roll. It's like, okay, roll dexterity to see if you, or roll an attack, and then like try and catch some of the blood, and I'll roll percentage to see how much blood you get.
Sure.
You
Okay.
fill X amount of vials. Oh, you critically failed. You don't fill any vials. You break the jar.
So that all the so I got two follow-on questions. Okay.
Yep.
So the the I guess let's go to roles first since it's being talked about. When he said that he's draining the blood, he had to roll, right?
Yep.
No. So when does the roll happen? How often for every move? For is it just on the fly decision? Like you got to roll to decide your fate, or
Okay, so rolling dice is a big mechanic in most role-playing games, and it's to see how well you do at something. So, for example, I want to attack this creature. I roll a d20 and add my bonuses to see if I hit him. And he's got like a static number for his defense, and if we beat the defense, we attack. If we don't, we miss.
is that static number like known before the roll?
Generally not. If you're well versed in D&D, you might have an idea of what it is, but there's always different things a DM can add to make that different. For example, armor or an enchantment or something of that nature. So
Okay.
ultimately speaking, you uh, D&D rolling, you're trying to beat specific things. Now there's specific checks that you might try and do for like skills. Like I want to jump across this cliff. It might only be like a 10 to do it. So if you're rolling a d20, that's like a 50-50 shot. And if you have any bonuses to your skill, then it's going to be less than that or more than that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, so rolling
So
rolling dice, there is a lot of chance involved, but like you can like um, kind of affect the dice by putting uh, bonuses to your specific stats. Like if you have a good strength, you're going to be better at physical activity. If you are good at like wisdom, you might be able to see things better. So on and so forth.
so the man, I got so many questions. Uh, um. So let me get to. Damn it. Let me get to the question. I guess no, that'd be too sidebar. Okay, hold on. I'm trying not to get non sequitur on you guys. I want to stay on a
Fine.
path of questions. So I guess what is the point of all the die? Like, why not just have just one? Like you said, D20, so that's a 20-sided die, right?
Yep, 20
Why?
sided die.
There's like 6 total.
There's 6 different types of dice, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so why all of those? Is that
So
just the DM's choice? Like how many choices you're going to have on this?
they're programmed into the game most of the time. So
Like,
each die has a different type of chance. So for example, a 1d4, you only have 4 outcomes, right?
Right.
It's a 4 sided 4. Then say a d20, where getting a 20 is a lot harder because there's more variables. So like different weapons do less damage. So like a dagger is a 1d4, right? So like
Right.
it's a small, like think of it in terms of Dark Souls. Like you don't do as much damage with a dagger than you do with a battle axe, right? A battle
Right.
axe in D&D is a d12. So that's most of the differences is the d20s rolled the most, and then the other dice are more for weapons or specific damages and things like that, for lesser damages. For example, a d20 isn't used to roll damage; it's only used for like statistics. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then there's also a d10, which is a 10-sided die, and there's 1 and a 10 version of it. So like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. There's one side for that, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know what I mean? So like when you do
Right.
that, it's rolling percentage. So like say I rolled a 1 and a double 0, that's a 100. Does that
Okay.
make sense? Or
Wait, explain that one more time.
so say I rolled a 70 and a 1, I get 71.
So
88. Yeah. So
it seems like it would rely pretty heavily on the dungeon master to kind of know a lot of those mechanics. For a casual player, like if I start playing this, I wouldn't know like a battle axe to D12 or something like that. I'd have to rely on someone that knew the rules.
You would have a book that would tell you a lot of this stuff, but yeah, the DM's job is kind of know the general rules and guide new players like that.
Yeah,
Not only that,
reading's pretty hard. I would rely on the.
so the DM should know the rules, but also it helps when there's players that also know the rules well,
Oh, for sure.
because then they can help out inexperienced players and let the DM do his main job, which is tell the story.
Okay, sure.
Especially like eventually if you start playing with a party of 4 or 5 and they all have different weapons, and then if there's a new player like, oh, how much damage does my weapon do, and you don't always know all the weapons that everyone has, so like Wombat said, it can get overwhelming if you're experienced players sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah. I've found the most challenging times I've DM'd is when I've DM'd completely new groups. Like none of them have played D&D before.
Mhm.
But I also like as a DM, you can also choose to not follow some rules. Like for example, the carrying
course.
capacity thing that I was talking about. Or sometimes rules might not work well with the story, or things in the story might not exactly go the rules. That's okay, because as long as it's fair, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, how wild can you get with that? Is like this chest was a mimic. Haha, you got killed. You know,
Dude,
is
there
that
are mimics. You want to get
There are
dunked on by
mimics in
mimics?
D&D.
Oh, I'm not playing this game. This is stupid. No. Okay. No. Mm-mm. No. As they both go through their books to go find the mimic page.
Yeah, hell yeah, I am. It's page 221, Bat. Here you go, Troll. Look at this. Look at this beautiful face right here.
Why do they ruin everything?
Oh yeah.
Why do they
Look
ruin everything?
Look at that.
Why?
Troll. Mimics. That's just that.
Our mimics for tonguing each other. That was weird.
So that was stolen from D&D then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mimics, dude. Yeah, you can thank D&D for mimics being in games and killing you.
Okay. Yeah, you open a chest and something comes out. You open a locker.
Oh, they're
something
not
comes
just
out.
chests. Yeah, anything. Trees sometimes. Anything. Maybe it's a bed this time.
Trees? Oh,
So not only that, but like there's traps and things like that, just like
Oh, yeah.
in Dark Souls. But like that's why you have a rogue, or you have trap finding, or whatever. So, and basically speaking, sometimes the tone is set at the beginning of the campaign, like what the campaign's going to be like. If it's going to be dark, or if it's going to be light, or if it's going to be somewhere in between. Like, is it going to be a dungeon crawl heavy? Is it going to be a more role playing heavy? I try and balance it as best I can so that there's um, some of everything, because some people are really into like doing battle and like fighting and stuff like that, and other people are really interested in the story and like role playing, and then some people are like interested in solving puzzles and finding traps and dungeons. So like it's good to have a balance. And I mean, think of it from the perspective of a like say Skyrim or some other Elder Scrolls game. Like the story is good, the dungeons are good, and like the mechanics are fun too, right? So like you like fighting things, but you like it's good to have a balance in any type of thing. So
Okay, so I'm glad you actually kind of went there because that was one of my follow-up questions. Was like, what is the overall goal? Like, who sets that? And
So-
I guess yeah, I'll
Yeah.
just go from with that.
Kirby, what do you think?
So, like Wombat says, it depends on the kind of tone of the game you're setting. In my experience, where I'm going through predefined books, like, for example, I have a few books here. Like, the one I worked through the most recently was this book here called Out of the Abyss. And one thing I want to add here: levels go from 1 through 20, at least in 5th edition. 20 is the highest level, unless then you can multi-class. Like, you could be like a level 20 rogue and a level 5 wizard or something. So not all the stories go to level 20. I just want to add that in. But anyway, so in this story, Out of the Abyss, your goal is, without spoiling too much for people who do care to play it or whatever, you start in some underground world as a prisoner, and your initial goal, of course, is to escape. You can't really do a whole lot of saving as a prisoner, and ultimately it's to fight these demon princes that are kind of taking over the world. The stories don't all have to be big, oh, kill all the demons, save the world kind of thing. They can be more just, maybe this time there's just some mysterious plague going through town that came into town like a week ago, and we want to figure out what happened to that. It's kind of up to the DM if they're making their own story or the book itself, but it can range from very combat oriented to more diplomatic, trying to solve problems in a kingdom or something like that.
So in that, you would just have to know your audience, I guess, and what they prefer to kind of.
Yeah, generally what I do whenever I DM for it's pretty much from the same group every time, but I would ask, what do you guys feeling this time? Do you want it to be combat oriented? Do you want more role play, that kind of thing? Do you want more
Kirby's like,
exploration
I
and
got
dungeon
big
crawling?
stories to tell. I
Listen,
love stories.
that's why I use the pre-written books, Trell. I got big combat plays. I can design combat, but the group I play with generally like combat, so I would throw in more items, more like combat based weapons and stuff like that than the book throws out, because you know there's treasures and you can add your own treasures. So I throw in more of those than the book normally gives, and I would add in more encounters since that's what they care about, stuff like that. And one thing I did, this is specific to my place. Rose asked this earlier. Do you guys do anything special for crit rolls? Which is a 20, by the way, Trell, on a D20. If you roll a 20, it's a crit.
Okay.
Which generally vanilla, I believe the rules are just double damage. So then you roll damage and you double it, or sometimes people just do its maximum damage of the damage roll of the die roll. I have like this. I made a crit table for the different damage types. Like for example, if you do fire damage, you roll on that percentile die that Wombat was talking about, the 0 to 100. And based on how, if you roll close to 100, if you roll an actual 100, then it's an instant kill. The percentage chances are pretty low because you have to roll 1 over 20 times 1 over 100. So 1 over 0.02, or 0.002. Or besides that, maybe just you superheat their armor or something. So now they have to take their armor off, or they take damage every turn, something like that. Essentially, I made my campaigns more combat oriented because that's what my group liked to play with.
Okay. So, and again, beforehand, they wouldn't know that there's a possibility that their armor could overheat or something like that. It just sounds like this, like those kind of rules are just designed on the fly.
Anytime I add in rules like that, I tell the group, like the group knows if I add in new rules that aren't in, like, hey, I asked, do you want to play with these things? And we kind of adapt on the fly. Like maybe I think a rule is cool and they think it's cool, and then 3 sessions in, like, oh, this is kind of lame, we get rid of it. It doesn't have to be that set in stone. They know
So
there's a table.
you can actually redact.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the DM can do whatever you want. I mean, they want. I mean, yeah, it doesn't have to be that these rules are always true for this campaign. You can just say, oh, this rule sucks, let's not use that, or I think it'd be cool if we did this kind of thing, so.
God, playing with God. Oh my God. Okay. So I guess where would you say that what kind of character would I best be in this universe? This seems like there's
that's a tough question.
A finite amount of characters, right?
All right, so you can really be
Yeah.
anything and everything. You can, and like, so you've got alignments that you can kind of use as a guideline to tell you what help you decide what your character would do. So like, if
Dwarf.
you're a really good aligned person, like lawful good, like you're following the law, you're enforcing the law, you're making sure other people follow the law, things like that. Or you could be evil, or somewhere in between, like, and you could be lawful or chaotic, which is like I do everything by the book, or you're never going to be able to predict what I do. You know what I mean? So like,
like in your party itself, you can have some douches and some good guys.
right, and it's up to you guys as role players to figure out how that dynamic works.
Yes.
Because ultimately, the only rule I have that's a hard finite rule is I don't care what you guys are alignment wise. You guys need to stick together as a group and not dick each other over.
Yes, please, God.
That's the only rule I have. Like, you're in
That's
this
what makes
together.
chaotic evil pretty tough.
So you're supposed to be, even if you are like evil or whatever, you're still supposed to be trying to at least accomplish the goal. At the
Right.
end.
Like there could be some
Yeah.
side things where you're like doing stuff for yourself or like, stealing from the party. But like eventually you're going to have to answer to that. And then like at that point, your character might not be around anymore, if the whole party gangs up on you.
Yep.
Or you might have to lead the party or whatnot. So like it's just a whole bunch of like figuring out how you as a character would do things and doing that. Like you're playing a role, you could be yourself if you want to. I've done that. Like or you could be, right now I'm playing a turtle, which is basically like a turtle guy. So
please
like,
explain that.
turtles like like in Elder Scrolls, the catfolk, the what are they called?
The Khajiit.
The Khajiit. It's like that except with a turtle instead of a cat.
Okay. Interesting.
So think Ninja Turtle almost. His name's
Oh,
Degas, which is named after another artist.
okay.
That was a big cat you had in the background there, Kirby.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that a pretty big cat that just ran by? That's really weird. So, yeah, this is crazy. Feral cats running around the apartment complex. It's really weird.
I swear it got up on 2 legs. That was weird.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Okay. So I guess since you guys have mentioned it so much, what's different about this version 5 that makes it so good,
So
so
every time
fresh?
they make different versions, they're trying out different things to make it more accessible to more people, less
Okay.
complicated, or trying different things to make it different, make it smoother, things like that.
Can
So
I stop you right there?
sure.
How does that make you feel as someone that's been around for a while, like that they're making it more, they're nerfing it in a sense of lack of better terms, like they're making it just for more casuals.
I don't mind it being more accessible. Um,
Okay.
3.5 really had a lot of um, variety in terms of what you could accomplish as a player, in terms of how unique your character could be. So your
Hmm.
experience is always different because like there's so many different things you can do. There's a lot of like maneuverability in that way. Like you could take different things to make your character different. Fourth edition, when they made it, it almost felt more like Final Fantasy in terms of like you only had like a tier, a branching tier to um, like it was very finite in terms of what you could do. It felt like if you played this character, like this class, you'd be playing that same type of class the next time. Fifth
Hmm.
edition has a nice balance between the two. There is still
Yeah,
a
it
lot
does.
of flexibility, but it's also not as complex as 3.5 was. 3.5 also had like the most amount of like extra content. Most of my shelf down there is 3.5 books, for example,
That's just the content that was directed by the
by
creators of the
Wizards of the
game.
Coast. Yeah, the
Okay,
same
so
people
like,
who
because
make
you really,
Magic
the
and stuff like
content
that.
is unlimited in
Hmm.
in the
Right.
sense of the DM's eye. Okay. So official content, I guess that we can call that.
Yeah, and this isn't like they do make content in terms of like campaigns you could run, but I'm talking more about like books that have creatures or like extra rules for DMs or like um, different types of classes or subclasses, things like that. So like you could be a cleric, and then at some point your character could like betray his faith and become a black. What was it? I don't remember the
Whoa, they
term.
just be like, I'm an
A black
atheist now.
cleric, basically, like the
I'm an atheist
no,
now.
no. Like I
Whoa.
mean, a blackguard, I think it's called. So a blackguard
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
a fallen cleric or a paladin, I think it is, a fallen paladin that's betrayed their faith and is now like a negative energy paladin. So it's
A
pretty
negative
cool.
energy paladin. Whoa,
Yeah. So
that
like they
sounds
keep
dope.
all their levels, but they've turned them into a different type. Yeah.
That sounds
So like
that sounds
there's
pretty
there's all
awesome.
kinds of different things. You could be a magic user and turn into an arcane trickster, which is like all your spells are more trickery based and things like that. There's all kinds of things. So
So you could basically craft a D&D run, or is that what you call them, runs or game? Is it just
campaigns.
Campaigns. Yeah.
campaigns? Okay, you could basically like say we're gonna make a campaign that's straight up Diablo, and then just your the goal is to kill Diablo or something like that. I mean, that'd be
You
pretty.
could, sure, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. That
Um,
sounds pretty awesome.
you could take inspiration from any story because you, as the DM, create the story. Whether it be you,
That cat again. Sorry. She's trying to scroll.
Whoa.
There's a word.
That was a big cat. Wow.
Massive cats. I call it exterminator. This is really
so
weird.
basically,
Ridiculous.
for me,
Sorry.
I've never run a by the book campaign like Kirby has. I've always made up my own stories. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they aren't, but
I mean, you gotta try. That's fair.
yeah, exactly. And a good way to warm up to that is like trying one shots, which are basically like one session campaigns. So like maybe it's an Indiana Jones thing where you're needing to go into the temple and retrieve a certain artifact, or like rid a well of evil creatures, or whatever the case may be. So
So is there is there like a quick campaign? Is there a quickie that you
that's
can do
that's
like where
like
it's
a
just
one
like
That's what a one
shot.
shot is.
Yeah.
oh okay
It's
so
just like
like
a
how long
one session thing, a few hours maybe.
Or it could be like a couple sessions if it takes a little longer than a couple hours.
That's fair, yeah.
so how long does a campaign usually take?
Well, if it's a full-fledged campaign, Gail, how long was the last campaign I ran? It wasn't like 2.5 years. I think it was. Hey Mason,
Yeah.
welcome.
I
Um,
would say I've done 3 campaigns with my friends. The longest one was a year and a few months. The shortest one was
oh
4 or 5 months.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, like, if you meet constantly every week without fail, it can go a lot faster. But my group was meeting twice a month,
Yeah,
and if they missed one, that's once a month. Or if they missed two, it's like none
yeah.
a month.
Dude, adult life is hard.
It is.
Do you need if you start a campaign, do you need all the players there?
No, it's preferable, but I'd say I could with my group of 5. If I was missing one, I would still hold the session, and we would just pretend that their character is just not there. I don't want someone's character to die when they're not there to control it. So,
That gets me to another point that I'm sure Troll's going to ask, which is how many people should there be in a campaign?
let's say
Eh,
you want me to say my number. Or do you want to say yours first?
You can go ahead.
My number is 5. I would do 6. I won't do more than 6. I guess I would do 4, but ideal is 5. So I'm gonna say 5 plus or minus 1. I won't do outside of that range.
4 is my sweet spot. 6 is
Okay.
too many. I'll take 5.
Okay. Got it.
Why?
Uh, okay, so let's go with the high number, 6.
Yeah, agreed.
6 I'll do if I have to.
Right.
But generally speaking, any more than 6 or even at 6, if you have a very random or exploratory group that likes to do things on their own,
Mhm.
it's hard to give everybody the attention that they deserve and need.
Agreed. They feel like they have less overall impact on the story because, like Wombat said, everyone's trying to do their own thing. So,
So, like somebody who might be doing something interesting or toward the plot might get more attention than somebody who's going to a shop and buying things and
yeah,
trying to steal X item out of the shop or something like that. Um,
So
so like
mainly like if you have fewer people, you're able to give it more attention and
right,
okay.
or
Yeah.
they might act more as a group because
Yep.
there's
Sure.
th-
Sure.
th- when you have more characters too, you tend to have a lot of overlap in terms of what they can do. And
Yep.
that's also problematic because, say, 2 people can detect traps and they're both trying to check for traps, they're stepping on each other's toes. You know what I mean? And then you have nobody watching the rear for any people that might be trying to sneak up on you or whatever. You know?
Okay.
I would also
So,
add quickly in my campaigns that were more combat oriented, more players, combat can kind of drag on because everyone's taking their own turn. They take some time to think about what they want to do, and then they do it. And there's more downtime when it's not your turn, and it really takes people out of the experience when they're sitting around for multiple minutes not doing anything because there's so many people to get to before it's their turn.
Okay. I mean I think I follow that. So when you saying overstepping each other, is that them picking their own like secondary skills or something like that where they're like I can do traps, I can kill mimics in one hit or something like that. And also there's no there's no mimics around and it's just like, oh, this is boring. But is it something like that or
kind of. That's something you're gonna have to experience to see what you as a class can do. So, for example, there's let me just list the main classes real quick. Let me see if I can do it off the
Sure.
top of my head. So you
Yeah,
got barbarian, bard, druid, cleric. That was out of alphabetical order, but who cares? You've
that's
got
okay.
fighter, monk, ranger, sorcerer, and wizard, and paladin.
You missed one in 5th edition. I don't know what you were going.
I was going with third, but
Okay, in
what
5th edition, warlock.
oh, warlock. Yeah, of course I missed
I
that
don't know if
one.
that's in 3rd, but in 5th edition, that's the only class you
Did
did.
you say-
At
did
least
you
in the
say
base set.
magician or sorcerer?
Sorcerer
Wizard and
or
sorcerer are two
wizard.
different things.
Oh, okay. Is that like pyromancer versus sorcerer or something like that, or?
More like
Yeah, if you have a good way to explain this, because I know there's a difference. I'm trying to think of how to explain it to
I
Charles,
mean,
having not played the game.
it's kind of yeah. Using Dark Souls as a reference might be fine in terms of it. Like, there's three different types of magic in Dark Souls, right? There's sorcery, pyromancy, and hexes, right?
Oh, I thought you
Right.
were gonna say miracles,
Oh
but
yeah,
I guess
miracles.
Hex is a miracle.
Mir-
Yeah.
yeah, same diff.
So miracles are more like divine magic in D&D, where like druids and clerics and paladins all are like divine magic. They get their magic from a god.
Yep.
Okay?
Right.
Whereas warlocks, sorcerers, and wizards are all um, arcane magic. And so arcane, it's just basically how they've gotten their magic abilities. So sorcerers naturally have some arcane. They're like connected to the arcane magic in some way. They were born with it. Wizards studied to get it. So they like studied for years and years and years. They get their magic out of books, like a spell book.
Okay.
And then warlocks are kind of an in between of that. They're like I have never played a warlock, so I'm not exactly sure how their magic works. Gale actually is a warlock in the campaign that I'm in, so he might be able to say more about it. Or you could, read fifth edition and check it out. But
Warlocks are mostly about casting a bunch of lower level spells like cantrips and stuff. They don't do big high level blowout spells like wizards do. They have a bunch of lower level spells and they use that to kind of destroy things.
so
So, do you guys always have a medieval fantasy campaign scenario, or do you ever do something like post-apocalyptic, or just go off the wall with some weird campaign, or do you always kind of follow that kind of Lord of the Rings type deal?
so here's the glorious thing about role-playing games. There is something for everyone. If you want to play a post-apocalyptic world, there's a campaign, there's a role-playing game dedicated to that type of thing.
So
If
it's
you
not D&D though.
Right. If you want to play something where you're superheroes and you're going in the real world as a superhero, there's a thing called Mutants and Masterminds, which is an amazing game. Um, if you want to be in the modern world but playing Dungeons and Dragons, you can play D20 Modern, which is basically D&D in this age. So
Interesting.
it brings magic in, and like there's kind of some cross-dimensional things too. So like you'll see goblins as mobsters and things like that. It's kind of interesting. Um, I once did a campaign where I was describing the setting and things like that to them, and it took them forever to figure it out. But they were in a post-apocalyptic Earth.
Hmm.
So like I'd describe a broken down, destroyed, rusted out car that was like hundreds of years old as
Okay.
as if somebody were looking at it and not realizing it's a car, like just describing it, and they had no idea what it was. They're like, this weird metal hunk. What the heck is this? Or like they'd explore shells of old skyscrapers that had toppled and things like that, and they're like, this is a weird, like, who made this? Like, what was this? Like, and one day somebody it clicked for them. They're like, guys, this is a skyscraper.
This
Like, and
So they didn't
Jason,
know
thanks, man.
beforehand, like because the DM
No,
just
no.
said like there's a big chunk of metal.
Yeah, like if you describe it like in terms of like description and not like this is a skyscraper, they have to figure it out for
Right,
themselves.
right.
So like putting in twists and things like that is always fun and really neat.
Okay. Does that kind of coincide with what you were saying earlier about the puzzles? Like how would I guess I understand how fighting mechanics would work. How would puzzles work?
Okay, so say you have a door where there's 9 buttons on it, and there's a riddle saying what the order is that
Oh,
you
I'm
should
so
push
good
the
at jokes and
buttons.
riddles. So good.
Oh no, it's
Easy
yeah. Charles
peasy.
got next level. It's done. Already solved it.
You can maybe use like an ability to get you a hint at what the riddle might be, but like there's things like that.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Man. So, and then another mechanic that you were kind of mentioning earlier was like you someone in the party was like checking the sticks and did the party have to like call how do I phrase this? Would it be my responsibility as a party member to say like, hey, I'm looking behind and watching for anything coming up behind us? If I didn't
Absolutely
say
it
that,
would.
Yes, or else we don't know what you're doing. So
Wow.
if you don't say that, then we assume no one's watching the
For
six.
example, say, okay, we all take a rest for the night. Okay, that means nobody is watching, like posted as watch for, say, if some creature sneaks in the middle of the night to try and eat somebody, or go through the
Wow.
packs and steal things. You know what I mean?
So that there would have to be some sort of level set though, some sort of understanding between the DM and the players though, because or if the DM was just a complete jerk, they could just be like, the fallen meteor example that I mentioned
You-
earlier. Again,
you
you're like,
don't play
oh,
with
I,
games
I
like
screw
that.
you guys, I got you guys, haha,
That's not fun for the DM though. Like I don't want to play
Right.
just to kill. That's dumb. I might as well just say, "Oh, you spawn and then there's a nuke." That sucks. Wow. Dang. You
So
tried.
the DM is not out against the players.
No.
They're just trying to convey a story.
Agreed. Yes.
Gail, are you referencing the time that the party woke up, and there were plants trying to get at you? Because I did that. I did that one time.
Uh,
Also,
the only times players. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So okay, yeah, he is. He's referencing something I did. So ultimately speaking, here's the way I do it. If it's levels 1 through 5, you're actively trying to help the players succeed.
Yep, that's fair.
Levels 5 through 10, you're ambivalent.
Yep.
Levels 10 through 20, you're trying to kill the party.
I agree with what you're saying there. Like I'm throwing harder things at them, but the only time my players have died is due to A, bad rolls, or B, bad decisions. But not because I'm like, yeah, there's this chest here, and if you open it without succeeding 3 trap checks DC 20, then you just die. Sorry, that probably didn't make sense to you, Trell. But the point
think I
is,
follow.
yeah. So
yeah,
the point is,
insta-death stuff is never fun.
this is garbage. It needs to be because of bad rolls, which sucks for them, but it happens. That's part of the game, or bad decisions.
So what happens when this game over? It's like, well, GG, that was fun. I killed you guys.
In my
And then-
campaign, well, I've never had a party wipe. When a character dies,
I have.
they can either be done. Oh, I'm gonna come back to that one because I have a question about that. That player can either just be done and watch the campaign, or I'll let them make a new character at a lower level and travel along with and level it up, and they'll have to make up some story related reason why they're back with the
So
campaign.
when you say travel, they're on a set path that you've laid out.
Or they might choose to go their own route, and then you
Yeah,
have to make
I
up stuff.
prepare paths, but they always do their own stuff. They almost never do what I plan for.
Do you
Yeah.
do you present the pass out to them then? Like there's a bridge.
No, they figure they ask the town members about what's going on. And they think, oh, that sounds interesting. Let's go there.
How do they know there's town members?
Well, if you go into a town, they say they ask like I find someone, I ask what's in this town, like an inn or a tavern, or maybe there's some certain stores, and they just gather information from speaking to the villagers, and then
So
they
is it-
tell them.
So there's imagination on both sides. It's not just hearing the DM out.
Yes, and sometimes yeah, exactly. I have 100% sides, and sometimes the game will come with a map. I'll show them that. Before we get too off topic, remember your questions, Trell. I want to hear about Wombat's party wipe because I've never had that happen. I want to know 1, how it happened, and 2, how you handled it, Wombat.
Okay, so you present a world, right? And then you put warnings in for places that Okay, so let's put in perspective of Dark Souls for a second. You go to an area and you barely
Relates to everything.
you barely hurt something, and it takes forever to kill them, and they hit you once and you're dead. At that point, you realize you're not in the right area. You're in an area that's way too too much higher than your level, right? That makes sense?
I think so.
Okay, so like when you, for example, like in Dark Souls 1, the skeletons that are behind
By the catacombs.
Firelink, the catacombs.
Yeah.
Those skeletons are like a lot more OP than you at the beginning of the game. Like you barely do any damage to them. You'll
They
get
just dunk on you.
and they dunk on you.
Right.
There's areas like that in everybody's world. Like you're not gonna have the big bad evil guy's castle be in like Sunshine Candyland. There's gonna be monsters and things like that that the party might not be able to deal with until they level up, get items that might be able to fight them better, whatnot. Like it's just the way it is. So like if there's a woods nearby that has a Hydra in it that people have said people go in there and never come out. Don't go in there. It's bad. You can't handle it. And then the party goes in anyway. And then they try and run from
It's
it
their
when they
fault. Yeah.
realize, like, yeah, I had a Hydra in some woods, and it was like designed to be like a don't go here yet, but the party didn't learn and
Yep.
just locked in. They're like, we're gonna
Yep.
try and kill it.
That's what I mean by bad decisions. Like that's on them. They die there because they didn't understand bad survival instincts.
Yeah.
Right.
Know when to cut and when to stay. You know.
Yep.
So who overall has like veto power? Basically, like if the imagination of someone's just going way off the chains, it's just like
I mean,
just gonna...
the DM's in
DM.
charge, but if the players don't agree, then you just don't play with that DM. Like if the DM's like, I mean, obviously most DMs are reasonable. It's not gonna be like, yeah, I talked to this townsman, asked for information, and then if the DM just keeps shooting you down, like, nope, he doesn't have a tongue, his tongue's gone, you can't get information that way, then that's just dumb. You don't play with that. But ultimately, the DM kind of says what they want to be allowed and what doesn't work. But the DM's going to find they don't have a party if they just overrule everything and don't actually listen to what their players want.
DMs
Okay.
have to be fair.
Yes.
And that's something that a good DM knows and does, even to their own detriment. You know what I mean?
I don't think I'd be a good DM. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I'd be so corrupt. I'd be so corrupt.
Oh, Kirby's actually dead. He spawned in an acid pool, so that's
so let's
cool.
start the game. Kirby died. All right, let's get going now.
All right, Kirby. While everybody else is doing the campaign, you're gonna have to make a new character.
You have to make a death save.
How did I die? You stubbed your toe. End of story. Let's go.
Your character's too
Infection.
weak. Infection. Dude, sorry, man. That's how it goes.
So what kind of cadence do you guys do with as a DM? Do you I guess like what pace do you like to go at?
I guess, are you talking about at the rate we progress through the story, or
Yes.
the way they actually travel through land?
So that's the only part of the campaign that we have no control over as DMs.
Yeah,
the
I can't tell the
cadence.
players. I don't railroad. Railroading's dumb. They do what they want at the pace they want. Sometimes it's slower than I want. Sometimes it's faster than I want. But oftentimes it's at a good pace, and I think it's funny the way they decide to do things. So
Oh, interesting. I thought that the pace was more set by the DM. Like they would be like, okay, so here's the next scenario that I'm going to present to you. But
sure, but they might not do that. Like,
Right.
for example, sometimes like, oh, there's this castle in the distance, and it's pretty obvious that they're supposed to go there. But then they talk to a towns member and they figure out, oh, that towns member ate a cookie, and then for some reason, they really have a hankering for eating kids now or something, and there's a bunch of kids missing in town. And they're like, oh, we're gonna go do that. Or, there was this person who was selling some pretty cool weapons in this town like 3 campaigns back, so we're gonna go back there. And you can't say, nope, you're going to the castle. That ruins the immersion completely for them. So
Breath of the Wild syndrome. There's
Yes,
a castle in the
exactly.
background that you should be going to, but instead you're going to all these towers, doing all these
Yep.
dungeons.
Yep, you've
side
seen the
questing.
castles at the start of the game, but we don't have time for that. We want to do other stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Not only that,
That's
but
pretty
like a good DM doesn't railroad, but also allows for consequences to happen based on the choices of the players. So for example, one campaign I did had a timeline. If it took them X amount of time to get to X place, things would happen that they don't know
Yep.
about. And eventually it might make it harder for them in the long run, or make it even harder in the long run. So like the longer a party especially if they know where they're supposed to be going, the longer a party takes, the more prepared whatever they're going after probably
Right.
will
The bad
be.
guys aren't sitting around just doing nothing the whole time.
Right.
They're doing something. Or the bad thing, it's not always an actual like sentient force. Maybe it's just like a plague and people are dying in the village or whatever.
So while that's interesting. So
But
there's
it
a lot
really
of
depends.
things happening in the background while they're in the foreground doing like something with this tower or
Absolutely.
this cookie that they just discovered in this town. And Kirby would be allergic to this cookie and would die.
Yeah,
But-
instantly. I smell it, I'm dead. Yep.
It's not like all the characters are in a T pose standing around in the world when the characters aren't looking at them.
Yeah, the characters have like going back to Majora's Mask, best game, Legend of Zelda. Anyway, the characters have an agenda. That, like the NPCs are doing things in their spare time. They're not just like, oh, we're frozen, we can't move because the main characters aren't in our village right now.
Well, I just had to drop that in there real quick. That's
Just,
awesome.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just
Okay. So how do you guys keep track of that?
I have a calendar, and they every time they rest, I just move the day cycle forward one. And like Wombat said, I have set points where by this day these things would have happened. It's not an everyday thing, but every so many days these major events happen. That kind of thing.
So I know we kind of talked about have you guys streamed it, and you said you haven't.
Nope.
But do you guys do that by hand, or do you have programs, or?
By hand or in my head.
Yeah, either way. I'll have like Word documents or Excel documents up to track things like who found what items, what still needs to be done, that kind of thing. But yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to like a battle scenario,
Yep.
it probably a battle encounter probably takes a good like 20 minutes because you're probably referencing things, seeing
it takes a while, especially for big boss battles and stuff.
Big boss battles.
Yeah. Well, but I don't know how you do this, but just to talk about battles now, like moving around the map, right? The stage. I have a big rollout, washable race marker board where I can draw out a layout, and there's squares on its grid base, so you can say how many movement spaces you move, and it's easy to keep track of positions. I don't know how you've handled that.
My group has stuff like that. I also have a poster board that I craft out, and then they can move their things, and I block out different areas or write on it in a race. So.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, you can do that. There's also online stuff like Roll20. You can make the graphs and grids online, so that people can move their characters and things like that. So yeah, there's like a lot of aids these days, which is nice.
Okay. So will you guys stream it?
Wombat and I want to, yeah.
We want to.
We were talking about that the other day, like Thursday.
We'd need 4 or 5 people for it though, and we'd need to figure out who would DM.
If Wombat, if you want to DM, that's fine. If you gotta be a player, I mean, I would too. As long as it's 5th edition, I would only DM 5th edition. But if you want to be a player, I'd be fine DMing. But I would want to. I'm getting a hankering to play again. So.
Well, so here's the biggest thing, Trell. If you are interested in playing, you're gonna have to invest in one of these bad boys.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you'll need a player handbook, which is like what, $20-$30.
Is there a DM handbook?
There is. Yeah, it's here we go. The DM guide and the player's handbook. Then there's a bunch of supplementary things like bonus monsters or some bonus classes, some storybooks, stuff like that, you know.
Right. So is there like a boss's handbook or something like that?
If you buy a pre-made story, it'll have the bosses in there and when the bosses happen. Or I mean, some of the monsters are big, right? Like dragons are no joke. They kind of party wipe pretty often. There's even things like you see on the front of this book, beholders is what they're called, the big floating eyeball things. Those can serve as bosses depending on what stage of the game the players are in. So the DM kind of designs their own boss. Like, oh, I want my boss to be a basilisk this time around, or oh, I want my boss to be a mind flayer or something. You know, it depends on the DM and what the players want.
You got a lot of people wanting to play right now.
Sounds like it.
Why would I have the worst luck too? Why I would I'd be like, oh, I found a rabbit's foot. I'm super lucky now from now on.
You don't just say you found it.
It's my imagination against yours. I win. Okay.
I will say though, on that point, there have been times where the players are like, oh, maybe if we do X, that will give us a solution to problem Y. And it's something I didn't think of, but I like it more than my own solution. So I'm like, yeah, that's going to work. So I let them do it and it works. And it makes the players feel good too. But no, I'm serious. Some of the times the players have better ideas than I had or than the book had. So I'm like, yeah, that's actually going to be the answer.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I guess what other advice would you have for someone coming fresh into this?
Ooh, honestly, be serious about but do it to have fun. Like, you know, make a character. One of my favorite things about the characters, it's not the race, it's not the class. It's not... A lot of my party friends, their characters have quirks. Like, for example, this one dude has a little wheel, like a spinning wheel, like similar to that little magnet pendulum I have, where before he makes an important decision, he spins that and he consults it, and that leads to some crazy fun stuff sometimes.
Is that why you have that?
No. That was a Christmas present from this past year. His was his own little thing that he had.
Okay.
Or in my most recent character was his name was Bomardo. That wasn't his name. I don't remember. I was spelled it wrong, so his name got turned into Bomardo. But anyway, his quirk was that every time he killed someone or an enemy, he had to list it down and give it a name. So apparently on May 28th, 2017, that was the real date. I killed a broom. There's a sentient broom, and my guy named it the Dusta. So I named him the Dust Nut because he had just killed a comrade of mine. One of my other friends, Jared, was playing. So I have that written down. I still have that lying around. So I mean, stuff like that, just fun, stupid quirks that can make the game a bit more enjoyable when you, and especially when the DM incorporates those quirks into the game to kind of like either make it more fun or be like, oh well, shoot, how are we gonna do this now? Because my guy's allergic to, I don't know, soup, and we have to eat stew. I don't know, something dumb.
Right.
But,
Interesting. Oh my gosh. See, I don't know if I could trust Kirby though, because he would just mimic me. I know it.
What did I
He
tell
would
you,
just
Rose?
mimic me.
You'll hear it. You'll hear it. Trell didn't trust me as a DM. I was just telling Rose yesterday. What?
He would just
See?
mimic me.
Hey, William,
I
welcome.
would not. I would be fair. I promise you, I am fair. I would not. I would not instantly mimic your character. Oh wow, share you said that was a mimic. You didn't check it. Get dunked, kid.
Oh
Oh
my
man, do I
god.
really want to play now?
So
It sounds super fun. I
It's
definitely
so damn fun with the right group, which I think
It's-
we would be.
it,
It's
it definitely isn't for everybody,
It's
but
not.
it can be for anybody.
Yep. The hardest thing,
Does that
as
make sense?
Wombat mentioned earlier. Yeah, sorry. Does that make sense?
Go ahead.
The scheduling is the hardest. I mean, especially with 4 or 5 adults, it can be hard to schedule things. But I think that it could be doable.
Yeah,
I think it's worth trying to do.
My D&D campaign I'm currently in, we were on hiatus for a month because certain people can't come in.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
like on vacation or whatnot. So it
Yeah,
happens.
it sucks, and it's a bit easier. I would well, I mean, I've never done it, but I feel like it would be a bit easier for an online group because no one has to drive anywhere. You just go to you go home and log on. And one of the problems was none of my friends live so far apart. It was hard to get everyone to drive to one central location. But
Right. At least, I mean, I think we're on the same time, like 1 hour apart. But
1 hour
I
apart,
think
yeah, that's it.
It wouldn't be too hard, I don't think.
Well, Trell, for you, the hardest part's going to be like starting at a time that is good for us, but
oh yeah.
But with
Wombat,
your-
how long were your sessions on average?
4
Like,
hours.
Okay, yeah, 4 or 5 for me. So it's also a
Holy
big block
crap.
of time. Yeah, so that's another thing because
Yeah.
I know it sounds like a lot, but you don't feel like you got like in a 2-hour campaign, like I would say
No, this is
the
a D&D
duration of time that
episode.
we stream. That's not a lot in D&D, and you won't get as much done as you want per session.
Kirby, have you seen my streams? I hardly progress, dude. Like,
That's-
I'll spend 2 hours and I'm like, I think I went into that door and that was pretty much it. But I mean, no, I get that. Like, I feel like it's a bit of a commitment. Like, if it's gonna be like 4 hours, I mean, I definitely would be game to try it. But yeah, with kids, that does present challenges.
Yeah, exactly. It can be tough, and that's why. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so for example, for me, the latest I could probably go would be 10 o'clock, which is 9 o'clock your time. And if you're done putting the 8 in the bed at what, 8?
Yeah, 7:30 is what we shoot for. It's always 8, so.
So that would be like 2 hours, 1 hour for me, because 8 your time is 9 mine. So
Yeah.
1 hour.
Yep.
So that wouldn't normally work. That's the biggest problem. Like if yeah, figuring that out.
If we can get something to work though, it'd be, in my opinion, fun to give a shot to at least.
Yeah, and yeah. At the end of the day, it's like having a party in a store you created. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
pretty good.
It's great, especially when you can, you notice that, man, you're playing a game, right? You're like, man, I wish this was in the game. Well, now you can just add that with some imagination. You can just make, oh, now you can have this weapon. You can try this thing, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Any so you mentioned a bard, right? As one of the characters.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, as a class, yeah.
How is that high charisma? Is there a lot of
Yeah, they're high charisma characters.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go? I guess I'm picking on the bard for a second because I want to like focus in on with the battle tactics and things like that. Is there aspects like an ocarina where it's all of a sudden it's just like you start, you can just play this music
yeah, let me.
or ocarina, sorry.
The main
That's okay.
the main feature of a bard is to play music to help the party do better.
Yeah, big buffs or debuffs.
But they also can cast spells. and some of them can be downright crazy, like charming people or like making somebody bust into spontaneous laughter that they can't do anything else for different rounds and all kinds of things. Like,
Killer
um,
whale flute.
what?
Killer whale flute.
Wait, what?
I'm just reading chat. Holy crap. Sorry.
Orca
no, it's okay.
Arena. Oh.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay, I
got it,
just
got it.
Trell cheater.
Oh, that's good. I love it.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is he talking about? That was good, Gil. I did not get your top tier jokes at first.
No.
Orca
I'm too simple minded to get that.
Oh, that was
my
great.
God.
Yeah, so like they can play any type of musical instrument, and they
Yeah, they
start out
generally
with that.
they choose at the start when they make their character, and then
Okay, interesting. So we never really I guess I never really heard what you guys thought I would be as a character.
Well,
do you mean class or race or how you would play
So
or
there's
what?
races too. So it's
Yeah.
Oh
not
yeah,
about-
you could be
it's
like a
race and
bar.
class.
Oh well, yeah,
dwarven
Gov,
bard.
Did you just say you said that you were a turtle guy
Yeah,
earlier?
yeah.
So,
That's his
okay.
class. His class is turtle.
Wait, class is turtle?
No, I'm sorry. I was just
like,
joking.
whoa.
I was joking.
What kind of classes are these? Okay.
No.
So like think Skyrim. Like when you start Skyrim, you're like, I want to be an elf.
Right.
And
I'm
I
assuming
also
there's elves in.
oh
D&D.
yeah,
multiple
elves,
types, high elves, night
dwarves,
elves, what else?
halflings,
Okay.
half elves, yeah, orcs, all kinds of things like that.
Okay.
There's Dragonborn.
Dragonborn. What?
Yep.
Oh, man,
Tieflings,
so good.
which Rose likes a lot. They're like devil people, basically.
What are they called?
Tieflings.
Tiefling.
Tieflings. Okay.
Here, I got you, Trump. I'm about to throw it up on screen. Oh, I opened the page. There you go. Looks like Nightcrawler from X-Men.
Oh,
pretty
sweet.
much.
Okay.
Yeah.
With a tail, yeah. Big
Yeah.
old tail.
Is there any
That's-
kind of like Argonian type thing?
You
hold
mean
on.
like lizard guys?
lizard people?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
That's
lizard
more
men,
like
right?
Dragonborn.
Oh, Dragonborn. Yeah. Hold on though, but in
There are
there's
lizard men too.
in Bolo's guide, I think there are lizard men. Hold the phone here. Yeah, lizard folk. Hold on, I
Yeah.
got you. So there's like
There's
side
also-
books.
Yeah.
Where people like this. Here you go, Trell. Like supplementary
nice.
books aren't in the main one that have additional races and stuff like that. So I guess that would be more like the Argonians.
Wow, you guys are really into this. Holy cow.
Dude, I mean not as much as one,
I've
obviously.
been
but
playing
the
for
last-
12 or 2 decades, man. So
Yeah.
I've been real
Wow.
into it.
my dad actually, when he was my age, had his own system that he made and played with,
Wow.
which was pretty cool.
So it sounds at least like you said it was like what $20 for the player's guide.
Oh, let me check right now on Amazon actually. 'cause that's-
So I got it for 35, I think it was. The back of the book says 50.
right now it's $28 on Amazon. So it depends on where you buy it from. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
or there's a collectible version for $1,200, Trell. I mean, if you really just sign-
I think I'm good. But
But yeah,
I
it's
like
like
the
25,
options there.
Yeah.
Trell, I mean, go big or go home, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were a Go Big streamer. I thought you were a Go.
I suddenly decided that this is a game I don't want to play.
No. Mm.
Okay. I think I just because this was what my main was in Diablo 2, I think I'd probably try out a paladin at first, and then what I don't know all the races though. Maybe maybe just a straight up human, I guess.
I
or
mean,
something.
when you look at the player's handbook, you can check out different things and see what you like and just try it out. That's
Do the
kind of
races
some of the
actually-
fun.
give you perks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like humans can get different ability points. Maybe dwarves are better at I don't know, I
Being
can't remember
strong, but they
More
might
like
be
yeah,
slower.
constitution and drinking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is it wow, drinking nice. Is there to put it into like World of Warcraft aspects? Is there
Sure.
like item gathering or like mineral gathering or anything like that? Or
Depends on the
went- I-
campaign, but yeah, you can make
Okay.
them have to go gather resources. Sometimes a player will be like an apothecary, or maybe they need to gather some stuff for a blacksmith in a town to make them a weapon, that kind of thing. And different towns will have different level blacksmiths. So maybe this blacksmith can only craft simple swords and crossbows, but someone else can craft more exotic weapons.
okay. Interesting.
So
there any-
one thing. So you'll need a player's handbook
Yep.
because you don't have anybody near you that would have one. You
Right.
could probably get a PDF, but I'd recommend having the physical book
It's
itself.
nice to flip through more easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll also need dice.
I do have dice actually.
You have
Uh,
all the
you-
forms.
Yeah, you'll need
I got like
D
a 6-pack
four,
of.
6. Oh, then you probably do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
It
you
came in
probably
like
do
one
then.
of these boxes.
It was like it was gifted to me basically when we were playing the
one of
street
these.
version.
Okay.
Did it come in like a box like this?
I came in a bag.
Oh,
With
okay,
a little,
cool.
like tie bit on it or whatever. But okay. Let's see.
Rose, we're not going to recommend that on stream. So
Rose.
there are plenty of ways to get the book. I'm just giving you my recommendation. So
They spend way too much money here. Okay. I guess is there any other? I think I've asked all my questions. Is there any follow-up questions from chat?
I mean, yeah, and this is a case where chat really, if you have experience with D&D, like what are your favorite moments? What are your favorite things to do? Favorite classes? What did you like most about your DM? You know, things like that. What didn't you like about D&D? Like, you know, things like that.
Is there like a DM rating system that you can like leave feedback
Like,
after the
yeah. There's like a Yelp for dungeon masters.
a DM Yelp? Yeah, that's awesome.
Good DM would play again. 10
We'll
out
play
of
with
10.
again. Yeah, solid choice.
10 dragons. 10 dragon
would
skulls.
Would recommend to a friend. Yes.
Dude, I'm looking at more D&D accessory books now, and I want to buy them. Why are you guys doing this to me?
Yes, do it. Spend all the muns.
Spend all the what? Spend all the months. When do I get paid? I don't get paid for like another week or so. So maybe then.
Yeah. As Rose said, don't let, like, for example, I played 5th edition for a couple times before I actually bought the books. If you don't think that D&D is your cup of tea, like, or if you're not sure, you could like try playing with a PDF, and then if you want to purchase the book later, you could. There's all kinds of stuff like that. I know that the PDFs are cheaper than the hardbacks, so.
Yeah, or
Nice one, Gail.
that's what you gotta do. You can't diss the DM in the open. That's how you get that meteor that Charles was talking about, or the mimic shares. Well, but have you used mimics in your campaign ever? I haven't done it yet, and now I feel like with Trell we kind of have to. I
Okay,
mean,
so I just decided that Wombat's going to be the DM because he'll be fair.
dude, I'm
and-
fair. Don't give me that.
Kirby just likes talking trash.
Yep.
I will not reveal what I do or do not do in my campaigns.
Oh, that's fair. You got people in here. That's fair.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I am fair though. But just because I'm fair doesn't mean that it isn't fun to, you know, do stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
So, Mason, if I didn't mention this before, thanks for the 14 bits, by the way. And I hope your concussion, I don't know how you got that, but I hope it feels better.
Man, I don't know if I got anything else to ask. I think you guys have kind of given me at least the 411 on it.
Yeah, you got some good background on it now and how it goes. More of it would come if you decide to play, if it works out for us and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so take a look at the online PDFs or the hardbacks. If I get super
You can
serial,
find one. Yeah, if you actually think you're gonna play, get a hardback or just browse through. If you go to Wizards of the Coast,
Wizards of
they
the Coast
generally give
has
you, like,
a lot of
the-
the stuff
Yup.
online that you can just reference, but it's
Okay,
not
let me just-
like in the book, like in as a book. It's like you have to search for it and stuff like that. So it's a lot less user friendly, more for people who know how to play.
let me just go to their website real quick and just
Sure.
peruse.
But ultimately speaking, it is very different from playing a video game because it's a lot more interactive
We
and
are.
customizable.
Just so you know, our stream froze, not our audio. I can hear it, but we're video wise, we're not moving.
Oh, you're still moving on my screen.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. I'll just reset the player then. That means it's on Rose on
Oh,
our end. So wait, you can get it. Wait, Trell, you can get it free from your brother. Oh, from Kayla's brother.
Oh,
Oh.
nice.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, Kale's brother is big into D&D. He actually streams it with a bunch of other people. I don't think
Nice.
he's not a DM though. He's just a player.
Player still, yeah.
So
That's true.
yeah, if you want to plug him, Kayla, you can. We'll.
So how different? Well, I mean, this is really different. I was big into Magic the Gathering. If we're gonna stick on the Wizards of the Coast,
Did you did you own physical cards or the digital stuff?
dude, don't. I had the physical cards. I don't. No
You
proxies,
don't
nothing
anymore?
Like that. You have the real card or go home.
You said had. Do you still have them?
No, I sold them all.
Oh, I still have like a whole. I have a whole shelf here, and like a whole cube is dedicated to Magic.
Oh wow! No, I had hundreds
Nice.
of cards, but I sold them all.
Wow.
I,
All at
I
once.
I wanted to get out of it. It was a bad drug to get involved with, and I wanted to get out.
All right, Gail. Thanks for coming in. Glad you could
Oh
join
yeah,
us.
thanks, Gail. Hopefully you don't wind up dead in your next campaign.
Yeah, no mimics, not like this.
Not like this. Not like this.
Gail's actually going to be participating in a sequel to a campaign that I ran for him. So like the campaign that he said took 3.5 years.
Yeah.
We're running a sequel to it.
Yeah. So same
Oh.
characters or just the same world? Like
Probably mostly same characters, but some people
Okay.
might choose different people.
So you have that on file somewhere, then, right? I wouldn't be able to remember that stuff. That'd be way outside the scope of my brain.
I've got tons of campaigns that I've run, and most of it's in that shelf. So.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I draw, I'm a visual guy. I'm an artist, so I draw out stuff and things
Mhm.
like that.
See, this feels like a huge scenario for something to build some sort of like web
See, Gail,
UI thing or something like that. But I'm sure there's already stuff out there. But the programmer in me is like, oh my god, there's a problem. I need to solve it now.
it's a problem. I need to solve it.
yeah. Uh-oh, we just lost Trell.
No, we did.
Oh,
He's
there he's
back.
back.
But he's
I'm
back.
I'm back.
Oh, the stream was just me for a second. The stream was just my face for like 0.75 seconds. What's up, guys?
Kirby taking over the stream. All right.
I guess the the Discord gods have spoken. Kirby is the DM.
Hello, everyone.
already not being fair. See.
No, it's your webcam's fault. It dropped itself.
All right. Well, I'm pretty much good. You guys got anything
So-
else you want to say about it?
So, I guess Trell, the other question is it something Kayla would also be interested in? And I guess I could ask Kayla that since she's in chat.
Yeah, I
Aw.
definitely think Kayla would be down for it. I'm gonna go ahead and speak for her. I know
I'm gonna go ahead and speak for her.
I mean, Kayla, your brother plays D&D, so do you have any misconceptions or conceptions about the game based off of him?
Yeah, him and his fiance are both pretty big into it.
Hmm.
So they quite enjoy doing it. We've sat and watched them a couple times just to get kind of the gist and stuff. I don't think they do any role playing. Oh, that was another question. Yes. How much role playing do you guys actually get into? Do you guys do voices and the whole likes?
I try. I'm not good at impersonating voices. I'm really bad at doing. So normally I'll just read in my voice from the character's perspective. If it's a voice I think I can do, I'll mimic it. But my players get real into the voices, specifically two of them, Jared and another friend with the same name, Quentin. He's big on it.
Already using the word mimic, I see. All right. So if you give us an example then of one of your voices.
Well, I sometimes use voices and sometimes I do not. But
All right, Kirby, let's hear your example.
Oh man, we're gonna do this. All right, my favorite voice. Well, not my favorite. Party's favorite voice is this voice here where I'm a gnome, and all I do is I run around. And I'm gonna save you guys the pain of that. But that's their favorite voice. And they try and find out gnomes, so I'll do that more because it really puts a strain on my voice, and I don't like doing it, but they like it. So, yeah.
All right. Okay.
I
Caleb,
told-
please.
I
Both
don't
of you
bring
guys,
people back from the dead. I don't like doing it.
That's so good.
Ugh.
Oh my gosh. Is there do you guys do any like Scottish dwarfs or anything? Or
One of them.
I'd have to practice
my
it.
friend played a dwarf once. He didn't use a Scottish accent though. Charles, that's what you got to be now.
I know I'm gonna be a paladin human.
I mean,
not just
Scottish one.
Everybody,
American.
Sorry, what one?
It's
Matt?
really like a give and take. Like if the DM puts in the effort to make voices, generally the players start to do it too.
Agreed, yeah.
I try. I'm
Okay.
big into role playing. With the characters, and a lot of that, like I've had whole sessions where we haven't had to roll one die. It was all just character interaction
Mhm.
and exploration, like finding different things and looking for different things, and not needing to roll. And sometimes the dice are kind of a barrier for the game itself, but they're definitely helpful in a lot of aspects. Um, I try and make my games as immersive as I can, so that
Mhm.
that it actually feels like a story that we're both telling. And that's probably my favorite part about the is a community of creation. You know, like it's not just me writing the story. The characters are all somebody else's. Like the main characters are all somebody else's, and I just have the setting and the direction. And to work with somebody in creating that is it's just a lot of fun and really cool experience. And what really drew me to the game, because it's one thing to create something on your own, but to have like a group of people that you're being creative with is always just a really neat experience. So
Right.
and like
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be like that every time. Like even just a
Like-
short campaign is a lot of fun.
Immersions. Bestro best said it. Immersions need it.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Okay, cool. I'm
So
pretty.
fun.
I'm kind of excited to see the aspects of this. What this could come to be.
I think the way we should probably start this is like we do a one shot, like some weekend where like you try it out and we have a few other people and we try it out.
Just get our feet wet and
Yeah.
see. Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it sounds like Rose is in and
She is.
Kirby.
She's sleeping right now, but she's in
me,
that, man.
And
She's sleeping again.
Yeah,
Trella
dude.
in.
Hold on. Let me just.
No. You don't need to do that.
There she goes. There she is.
God, does she ever not sleep?
Dude, I told you it's nap time. It's 10:30. Please.
The cat is sleeping.
And the breaker in our living room.
Okay, it was a
Flipped.
breaker.
And that caused
Whose fault was it? Blame someone.
no, it just kind of randomly does it on its own. Like there wasn't anything
I'm not feeling
extra.
it right now. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, it's happened during stream a couple times. And then everything needs to boot back up and everything like that. So that's what.
Right.
So if you guys are still here, thanks for sticking around. Yeah, basically it flipped, and like the rest of the house still had power. It was just the living room where the router is. So might need to plug that into a different breaker or something so it doesn't do that. Anyway, so I think we're wrapping up anyway.
Yeah.
But you guys, what were we talking about before we?
We were starting to look at the website, and I was just kind of going through. To give Amazon a big plug here, since Twitch owns them, anyways, or since they own Twitch. But we were kind of just looking at some of the things. It's like what, $27 for the player's handbook.
Right, it's on sale.
With edition. Yeah. If you want to get crazy, looks like there's a lot of people out here that really pay like top dollar for their dice sets. There's like
big metal dice and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah, there's some really cool dice out there.
Yeah.
I would be careful with some of the dice though. Some of them are more weighted than others.
Just get some cheap plastic ones to start. Maybe
Oh,
not
yeah, we
cheap,
would-
cheap, but you know.
Yeah, get ones that you can see through though, because then you can see imperfections. Which
Oh, like bubbles.
yeah, because if there's imperfections, your dice are gonna roll weird, and that's kind
You
of
might get stuck on like a higher chance to roll terrible 5. You don't
Right,
want
right.
that.
So,
Wow.
but ultimately speaking, yeah, we were talking about who would join us. I think it was we've definitely got Rose and Kirby,
Yup.
at least Trell, maybe Kayla. So that's 4 right there. But if it was both Trell and Kayla, it might
Then
not be
we'd
able to
have
happen while Aiden
Right.
was awake. Um, and even if it was just Trell, it might not be able to happen with Aiden awake, right? So
Yeah.
we'd have to like figure it out.
Okay.
But that's
I think
something for
I think
another
we got
time.
we'll have to just put something on the calendar and see what happens.
sure.
I know Gail was talking about being interested in D&D. Bastro, who's actually my brother, for those of you who don't know,
Oh, okay.
he's interested. So
Cool. I actually didn't know that Bestro was your brother.
yeah. Dum, 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 dum. So yeah, we just like that's 4 right there. If it's Trell and Kayla, maybe we could do like a one shot sometime.
Yeah.
But it would be neat to
Yeah.
add that as something to rotate for the stream is D&D. So
I'd enjoy it. I'm trying to see if I still have all my stuff. Oh, I do. Good, good, good. All my extras.
All your extras. Kirby's gonna spend all of his savings now.
Dude, I'm looking at two more accessory books for more stuff.
I know.
I'm probably gonna do it. It's $50.
Is
Much
there anyone
succeed.
on right now playing Dungeons and Dragons?
I bet you there's at least one group. Are they good? I don't know, but
Uabe T Dumu is have to dump.
What?
oh, we will just have.
We will just Uabe T Dumo, the kid.
That's a dumb. Caleb Big typing.
Dump the kids and the parents, and then okay, I get it. Jeez. So there's one that's on here that's got 362 viewers. So I mean, like even it's a big viewership that you get on Twitch for these things
You-
because I think a lot of people are
if-
just interested in seeing the story unfold, and just to see kind of like where their
It really
imagination
depends
takes
on
them.
who it is, and
Yeah, if you get a good group for sure.
right. So Critical Role with Matt Mercer, they get thousands of
Matt
people.
Mercer's super famous as DM.
Not only that, but like everybody he has in his group are actors and primarily voice
Oh, yeah.
actors as well. So they do voices. They really get into it. So it's really entertaining to watch. They're entertainers in general. So like
That'd be
they're
fun. I'll
almost
have to check them
professionally
out.
playing. Yeah, it's a fun time. I don't get to they stream pretty late on Thursdays, so I don't usually get to watch. Sometimes I watch reruns.
Well, I have one more question for you from DM to DM. When you DM, when you have spells, there's components, speak, some are like vocal, some are you use your hands. Then there's where you have to have like a component like this one I'm looking at here, you have to have, like a tiny piece of copper. Do you make them have that to cast spells?
If it has a value, I do. If it's
If
like
it has okay. Yeah, that's exactly
otherwise
what I
it's
do,
in a
like,
spell
worth-
component pouch.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, okay.
So like if they
Just-
need a feather to cast
Yep.
it, no, it's in the spell component pouch. They just pull it
Got
out.
okay, that's the same way I played. I was just
But if it's like 500 gold worth of silver
then
dust,
they have to have it,
then they
right?
have to have it.
See, I almost feel like I'd be paranoid in some ways. Like I'd be sitting there like, okay, so on this, I'm gonna be checking behind me, and then I'm going to be sniffing and touching everything, and make sure I collected all the things, and then I made sure to repair my weapon, and
That's why you'd start off at a low level so that you can learn the game and not have to worry about that stuff as much, and you learn that as you go. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
okay. That's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
he
Otherwise,
said
I'd be like,
sniffing,
I don't know
Kayla.
what.
Sniffing is only a stat
He's
if you're like an
sniffing.
animal.
He's nah, dude. He's the bloodhound race. He's like this bloodhound sniffing
Dog
around.
man.
All right,
I just wouldn't know. I would be like, I gotta say I did everything. I did everything on my turn. There, done.
Did it. I
See,
did it.
I think Trell would be a great druid because then he'd wild shape into a dog and sniff around.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So okay, I guess one more quick question is like, is it go in a sequential order then with the turns on the players?
Depends
yeah.
on the instance. If it's combat, as a warning, takes a while, especially if it's the first time
Mhm.
you've ever fought something. It's good to figure out what you think you're gonna do before it comes to your turn in combat
Speed it up.
to speed it up, because otherwise combat could literally take the whole 4 hours if it's hard enough or enough things that you're fighting.
Sorcerers, they have X amount of spells, or there's like, and
They
I
usually
pulled
have
a
X amount
magic
of
missile out of my
spells.
ass.
Yeah,
and-
but
Mhm.
then like every magic user has like cantrips, which do like smaller damage, but consistently you can use it no matter what. So like you'll
Okay.
always have a magic attack. You'll always be able to attack with a weapon. Um, so it's
Okay.
kind of like you know how you have your soul arrows in Dark Souls
Yep.
until you
Everything
rest.
everything related to Dark Souls.
Yeah,
Yep.
until you rest,
Yep.
you'll have that set number of spells, and then when you
Okay.
rest again, you'll be able to get those back.
Only rest at bonfires, or you can rest
You can
whenever.
rest
You can
anywhere.
rest anywhere as long as you
Some places
get
are
8
worse
hours
ideas
of
than
sleep.
others. Like imagine like you probably wouldn't want to rest in the dungeon, but they've tried it before.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I'm looking forward to this.
It's
So
so good.
if you guys liked what you saw, if you want to add into the conversation, there's always the Discords. Let me throw that down for you. Connect. That didn't work. Oh, you know what? My bot might have gotten shut off.
Oh
Yeah, it did.
Man, the bot got killed. No Wombucks.
no,
Yeah. Yeah, we lost $1 for a second there.
that's
Right.
okay.
There we go. Yeah, so you can connect there to add into the conversation, or if you want to see if you want to participate, you can always come onto the Discord. I'll probably throw in a D&D subgroup in my Discord just for this.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Yeah, it's working now. Kayla has tested it. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you, Kayla. Yep, big.
So yeah, if you
Quality
guys want to
assurance.
see more of this, you can always make
Stay
a follow.
while and listen.
Stay a while and listen to us talk here on the Rogue Scholars. Really enjoyed this talk, and we'll see you
Yeah,
next
fun.
time. 2 weeks from now. That works for you guys, right? 2 weeks from
Yes. Yep.
now. 9 Eastern Standard Time ish, and we'll see you then.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties too.